What's up, guys? We are back with Monday Night Football action with the New Orleans Saints going on the road to take on the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to break down the injury report, look at the player props, and find the best value on the side and over-under. And guys, we're going to take a look at a few of my favorite NBA plays for the night, so let's get into the action. Guys, as far as a recap, Sunday did not go as planned. We had the Bengals minus 8.5. That was an easy win. Colts minus 3.5. They cashed that one as well, but the wheels came off after that. We had the Jets plus 3. I knew that was a little bit of a contrarian play. I thought the weather would have more of an impact. It really, unfortunately, did not. The Vikings minus 3 ended up being a push. Cannot believe that game ended up being a push. We had the over there in the New England Buffalo game. Not an overplay there. We had the over in the Jacksonville Las Vegas game. They couldn't score any points either. And we capped the night off with a terrible performance there from Tampa Bay. They tried to make a comeback late, but it was not enough. So a brutal day out there on Sunday. We're going to try and bounce back here though, guys. Before we get into the video, hit that like button. It's good luck and show support for the channel and all the hard work I'm putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that little badge next to your comments absolutely warms my heart. Our videos are brought to you by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, college football, NBA, NCAA basketball, NHL, and the UFC. This is one of the best times of the year to sign up. We put a ton of work into our premium content, and getting those picks right now in the heart of the best time of the sports season is a huge win for everyone. Click the link in the description to go over there and sign up for our free email list and to see our free picks that get posted over there. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, our Monday Night Football matchup between the Saints and the Packers. The Saints come into this game only 5-9 on the season after getting off to such an insane start in the first couple of weeks. The wheels have really come off. A lot of bad injury luck for them. They're coming off of a loss against the Commanders. Things didn't go great. We are seeing an uncomfortable amount of dudes playing quarterback right now for the Saints. It appears we're going to have Spencer Rattler back under center for this one. He did not look good against the Commanders his last time out, completing 10 of 21 passes, only 135 yards, 1 touchdown pass. He was sacked 0 times. It was just a rough outing. We saw Miller wasn't terrible there in the running game, but nothing too incredible. They ended up losing the game by only 1 point, but guys, it's just looking pretty brutal. The quarterback situation there for the Saints with Derek Carr now out has really gotten bad. It's not looking any better. I don't know if they expect these young guys to step up or if they're just going to be, playing the end of this, very disastrous season. But really, it's just been a disaster. I mean, Kamara now, dealing with injuries. He actually had a pretty good game there against Washington, trying to do everything he can. He's their best skill position player that's left. I mean, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's on the injury report. We'll talk about that later. He did catch only 2 of his 7 targets, but did have 64 yards last week. So I guess they'll take that. But it has just been really tough sledding there for the Saints on offense. And on defense against the Commanders, they really weren't terrible. They gave up a couple of touchdown passes there to Jaden Daniels. They couldn't really stop him from running. They honestly couldn't stop the running attack too much at all. But at the end of the day, if you give up only 20 points, how bad of a day could it really be? In general, this season, the Saints on defense haven't been anything to write home about. I mean, they've had some good days. They haven't played the toughest schedule necessarily. When you see them going up against good teams, like, I'm not going to throw you a parade for allowing the Giants to only score 11 points, but it's just a little bit few and far between. Like, they played against the Buccaneers, they lost that game 51-27. So yeah, it's been a pretty brutal season there for the Saints, and the problems continue, guys. Like I said, obviously no Derek Carr. We've got Spencer Rattler under center. Alvin Kamara going to be out for this game. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is dealing with a chest injury and illness, so we don't know for sure if he's going to play in this one or not. He has not practiced all week, so that is obviously a very bad sign. On defense, at least they are, healthy. Every defense at this point in the year is missing a couple guys, that they plan to have available on the roster that are no longer, going to be suiting up for the rest of the season. But overall, the Saints defense is relatively healthy. We'll see if that leads to good things in this game, but I don't know. That might be a little bit of a stretch here as they go on the road to take on the Green Bay Packers, who come into this game 10-4 on the season, fresh off a 30-13 win there at Seattle. So a very nice win for the Packers. We were on the Packers in that game, so we will certainly take it. Jordan Love looked good. 2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, completed 20 of 27 for 229 yards. Being sacked 0 times has to feel pretty nice. A massive day out there for Josh Jacobs. He had 94 yards and a touchdown on 26 carries. Jordan Love didn't have to run the ball too much himself, only took off one time, got 4 yards, so that's fine. It has to feel good as a Packers fan to see him be able to just do his work in the pocket and not have to, go too crazy and put his body on the line. Christian Watson, 56 receiving yards. Josh Jacobs, very active there, catching the ball out of the backfield, caught all 4 of his targets for 42 yards. So definitely something to monitor there. Are the Packers going to continue to feed him the ball in the passing game as well as the running game? Honestly, at this point, doesn't seem to be too much of a downside for them doing that. Overall, loved what we saw from the Packers. They had 1 turnover, a Josh Jacobs fumble, but other than that, a very, very clean day out there from the offense. They've got to be very optimistic with how things are looking right now on that side of the ball. On defense, giving up only 13 points against the Seahawks is a very good night. They completely shut down Geno Smith, only allowing 149 passing yards. They had a couple of interceptions mixed in there. Geno got knocked out of the game. Sam Howell did not have a good time. The Packers combined to have 7 sacks in the game. Very good stuff there. They did a good job against the run, although they didn't have to face the run too much. When you're up 14-0 there in the first quarter, the opposing team is not going to be able to run the ball a crazy amount. So that's something to keep an eye on. Jackson Smith and Najigba did have a big game, catching 10 of 12 targets against them. So that's something to work on cleaning up. But overall, clearly a very nice day for a Packers defense. It's been very, very good this season. They're currently sitting in 8th place in the NFL, giving up 20 points per game. Nothing wrong with that, guys. And they've played, a pretty brutal schedule there in the NFC North. They've got this game against the Saints, then a big game against the Vikings, and then they, end the season there against the Bears. So definitely positive things this season for the Packers. They've got to be pretty pumped with how things have gone in terms of their injury report for this game. On offense, it's looking clean, guys. They're looking very, very healthy, ready to go for this game. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, everybody's ready to go. That offensive line is rearing to go. They've been playing great, and being fully healthy at this point in the season has to borderline feel like a cheat code at this point. In terms of their defensive health, that is a completely different story, guys. I mean, we see Walker, he's going to be out there at linebacker. We also see, Jair Alexander, he's going to be questionable. We'll see if he plays, at cornerback. They could be without up to 3 members of their secondary. Now, that probably won't be all 3 of them. If you're going to be, very weak in the secondary, wouldn't you rather that be against a Saints team that has very few wide receiver options and is starting a terrible quarterback? I would love that if that's got to be the case for me. Like, if I've got to have a banged up secondary, give me a banged up secondary here against the Saints. So we'll see what impact that has on the Packers in this game, guys. Looking at the weather, something that's going to impact both teams. It's going to be cold, guys. Temperatures are around 29 degrees, but it's going to feel closer to 20 out there. And while there's going to be very little wind, somewhere around 5 miles an hour, pretty much holding steady for the whole game, it is going to be rough out there. Very, very cold. We've got snow flurries definitely possible during this game. Not supposed to be much accumulation, less than an inch if there is snow. So could be a very cool football environment, but it's going to be cold out there. So definitely something to take into consideration when you're looking at a warm weather city / dome team in the Saints having to travel up to Lambeau Field and take on the Packers out there in the cold. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Packers at -14. We've got a total here of 42.5. New Orleans 6-8 against the spread this season. They're 2-4 against the spread on the road. Green Bay, they're 8-6 against the spread. They are 4-2 against the spread at home. They are also 4-2-1 to the under when playing at home this season. Guys, the Packers are the 7th best team in the NFL in yards allowed per play. That defense is a little bit banged up, so that's a bit of a concern, but probably not too big of a concern against this offense. Give me the Packers in this one, guys, to get the winning cover against the banged-up Saints. New Orleans is 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games against NFC North opponents. Green Bay is 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 home games against teams that had a losing record. Spencer Rattler has the 3rd worst passer rating in the NFL right now. I cannot get behind something like that, guys. Give me the Green Bay Packers to get the blowout winning cover. I think we could see them have a shutout in this game, and I don't think that would be too crazy at all. So definitely love Green Bay in this spot. That's going to be my primary lean in this game. In terms of that over-under, to be honest, guys, over-under plays feel cursed for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you to take over 42.5, and that probably means you should take the under. So we'll see how that goes. Over-under plays, though, not my friend at the moment. But we are going to jump on some player props that have been going very, very well. We did great on player props on Saturday, so let's hope we can run it back with a big player prop day here on Monday. It was a little bit of slim pickings, guys. This isn't the most exciting slate of players and possibilities out there, but I think we found some good ones. And the first one that I like, maybe the most, honestly, is Josh Jacobs over 14.5 receiving yards at minus 135. He caught all 4 of his targets last week for 42 yards. Seemed like very, very easy work. If he catches 2 passes here, I don't think it would be too crazy to see him get to 15 yards that easily. And why would they go away from throwing him the ball out of the backfield if it worked so well a week ago against the Seahawks? So definitely think Josh Jacobs over on his receiving yards is a very good play for this one. I also like Romeo Doubs here, over 39.5 receiving yards at minus 105. He's been over that number 2 weeks in a row. No real major concerns there. Is he going to all of a sudden stop getting targets? I think he's going to keep getting plenty of targets, enough to get to that 40 receiving yards. Not going to be crazy at all. They're going to want Jordan Love to put up some numbers in this game. Whether it's cold or not, I don't think that's a huge concern here for the Packers passing game. So definitely like Doubs here, over 39.5 receiving yards. I also have an interesting lean on the Saints passing game, guys. I like Valdes-Scantling over 34.5 receiving yards at even odds. If he plays, they're going to be giving him some targets. There's no way that's not going to happen. They don't have very many other options. So if he's going to be out there, which is definitely up in the air, so keep an eye on that, I think it's a great spot to get him here at even odds to just get over 34.5 yards. That's not too crazy. He's been over that number 4 out of his last 5 games. So I think there's a great chance if he plays that he can get over that number. On the Packers side, guys, I think Jordan Love under 29.5 passing attempts at minus 110 is very reasonable value. They're going to run it, guys. That's what the Packers like to do. There's no reason to really mess around too much. It's going to be a cold weather game, so throwing it's not going to be that much fun anyway. He's been under that number the last 5 weeks in a row. So yeah, give me Jordan Love under 29.5 passing attempts. That's definitely going in the pinned comment, guys. I don't think we're going to see them go nuts and have him throw the ball a ton. I don't think we're going to see the Saints be particularly competitive in this game. So definitely seems like a good spot to take the under on his passing attempts. And last but not least, guys, we are looking at the kicking props here. I'm taking under 7.5 kicking points here, guys, for the Saints kicker. It's at plus 110, so very reasonable odds. He only had 7 last week, even though he made a 51-yarder. He was, looking good out there, but I just don't think the Saints are going to give him that many opportunities to be scoring points. I don't think they're going to be scoring any touchdowns. And obviously, 1 point doesn't hurt us too much. 3 hurts us an awful lot more, but kicking out there in the frozen tundra probably isn't too fun either. And I just think the Saints offense is going to struggle in general. So go ahead and give me the under there on his kicking points. Now that we rounded out all of our NFL plays for the night, let's take a look at some of our favorite NBA games. It's a very crowded slate. Everybody in the NBA about to have Christmas Eve off, and then, the big Christmas Day slate, which we're very excited about. There will be a video on that, either on the main channel or on the secondary channel, so stay tuned for that. First up tonight, guys, on the 23rd, we're looking at the Utah Jazz. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Jazz come into this game fresh off of back-to-back wins. They took down the Pistons and the Nets. Utah, not a team that's really supposed to be winning games this season. They've been pretty much actively trying to lose, but they've found a way to put up a couple wins here. We saw Markkanen have a decent day, 21 points, but only 8 of 21 there from the field. Having Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench is a big plus for this team. 16 points from him, a +4 coming off the pine, and all of a sudden this bench unit actually looks kind of decent. It'll be very intriguing to see what this team does leading up to the trade deadline. I think they're going to be looking to ship guys like possibly Colin Sexton out of town, maybe John Collins. I really think the only untouchable guy on this roster is Lauri Markkanen, and there was reason to think he could have gotten traded to the Warriors. Obviously, with that extension, it changes things, but I think the Jazz are definitely not a team that's, in anything approaching win now mode. We see Keontae George. He is on the injury list, guys, with an ankle issue. He's questionable for this game. He played against the Pistons, played 33 minutes, but then did not play in their last game, guys. So yeah, we'll see what happens with him, but his availability clearly very up in the air. But like I said, guys, the Jazz, not a team that should be really trying to win games at this point in the season, and the fact they've won their last 2 in a row is a little bit shocking. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on one of the best teams in the NFL. They're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are now 25-4 on the season, fresh off a 126-99 blowout win there over the 76ers. It was the 76ers without Embiid, but I don't know how much that would have honestly mattered in this matchup because Cleveland is a very good team, and really the 76ers are not. We loved what we saw from Darius Garland in that game, guys. 26 points from him. Yeah, just this team can beat you in a plethora of ways. I mean, we saw very, very good stuff up and down the roster. Donovan Mitchell, 19 points. Evan Mobley, 22 points. They shot 51% from three-point range in the game. The bench looked very, very good. Karis LeVert, great off the bench. A plus 36 coming off the pine, guys. Crazy stuff. Ty Jerome shot the ball well. Yeah, this is just an elite level team. Like, they're going to dominate some opponents. They came out and dominated on the boards. They didn't put this game away super early, but, right there in the third quarter, it was over, guys. It was over. So, yeah, loving what we're seeing from Cleveland this season. Obviously, they come into this game pretty healthy. Isaac Okoro being out is obviously, not ideal for this team. We'll see. I mean, he's only out, max. He's going to be out 2 weeks. Okay, that's not a huge deal. Not the end of the world. Sam Merrill being on the injury report doesn't really move the needle too much for me. As long as you've got that starting lineup ready to go and you've got LeVert, Niang, ready to go off the bench, I think good things are in store for this team just across the board. So, looking at the numbers here, the Cavaliers are 14.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 231 out there. Utah, 8-7 against the spread on the road, so a pretty good against the spread team on the road. They always get these huge numbers. That definitely helps. They are also 14-13 to the over on the road. Cleveland, 13-4 against the spread at home, elite against the spread numbers. They're also 19-10 to the over. So, guys, you could talk me into over 231 in this game very easily. I think that's a solid spot, but even better than that, guys, I like the Cavaliers here at minus 14.5. I think they get the win and cover in this game. The vast majority of the time, they're in for a blowout here against a Utah Jazz team that's definitely in a letdown spot coming off of back-to-back wins against bad teams. I think they're going to have a rough time against one of the best teams in the NBA in this game. Next on the docket, guys, we got the San Antonio Spurs going on the road to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. The Spurs come into this game fresh off of back-to-back wins. They took down the Hawks, a very solid win there in a tough, hard-fought game. Then they took down the Portland Trailblazers 114-94. We're loving what we're seeing from Wembanyama recently. He's gotten the Spurs up to 15-13 on the season. He's playing absolutely out of his mind, delivering on all that talent, all that insane athleticism and size. He had 10 blocks, 7 rebounds, was 10 of 11 from the free throw line. He was 4 of 8 there from three-point range. That three-point shot has really, really gotten back on track here lately over the last, 10 or so games, maybe 15 games. He's looked so much better shooting the ball from deep. It's been a massive, massive difference. Loved what we've seen there. The Spurs managed to win this game comfortably despite shooting only 27.8% from three-point range. They did a very good job on the boards, holding a rebounding edge. They defended well. They did shoot double the free throws there that Portland shot, but still, it was very, very good stuff. We're loving what we saw from the bench. This is all of a sudden a very good San Antonio Spurs team that's, going to be taking care of business here against these weak opponents. We're still not loving what we're seeing from Chris Paul. Very limited production. 9 assists, cool, good job, but only 2 of 6 from the field. You got to score sometimes, bro. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with that whole situation. But Harrison Barnes being solid out there and Wembanyama just carrying the load for this team. And it's been very, very impressive. It's been great to see him stay healthy and just in general, very good to see the Spurs here turn it around after some early season struggles. San Antonio does come into this game fully healthy as well. Everybody's rested, ready to go out there, expecting good stuff from Wembanyama to continue. Although, the hype is building pretty aggressively, guys. We've seen this happen to players before, and they've won 4 out of their last 5. Cool. The best win in there was against the Hawks, and I'm pretty sure that game took overtime. Yeah, that was that crazy overtime game where Wembanyama went off for 42 points. So that's great. Are they going to be able to continue that here against the Philadelphia 76ers? Well, it kind of depends on what version of the 76ers you end up getting, guys, because it is a story of many different teams here for the 76ers. Looking at what they did their last time out, they got absolutely destroyed there by the Cavaliers, like we talked about. Maxey did, score some points. He had 27 points. Cool. Paul George looking like one of the worst signings in recent memory. 11 points for him. 4 of 12 there from from the field. Just pretty weak stuff. 3 turnovers in the game, a -7. Maxey was a -24. Kelly Oubre Jr. was a -34. It was bleak, guys. It was really, really bleak. They shot 34% from three-point range. They got smashed on the boards. This is just not a very good team unless they're at full strength. We saw no Embiid in that game, and indications are that he will play in this one. He's not listed on the injury report at all. So Joel Embiid should be gracing us with his presence here for a basketball game. Not something you see every day. Not even something you see most days. He's dealt with all kinds of weird injuries. He's back here to play against the San Antonio Spurs. So that'll be pretty interesting. Obviously, the NBA is really hoping he'll play there on Christmas Day. His last time out against Charlotte, dominant performance, 34 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, a couple blocks, a couple steals, and I got a 10-point win. Like, okay, good job. Now do it again and play in a bunch of games in a row. We'll see if that happens. But we are feeling, much better about the 76ers here. They are relatively healthy coming into this game, under the impression that Joel Embiid really is going to play. And look at the numbers, it appears that he is, guys. The 76ers are 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 218. The Spurs 4-6 against the spread on the road. They are 15-13 to the over. Philadelphia 4-9 against the spread at home. They are 13-12-1 to the under. Now, obviously, most of those numbers there for the 76ers came with Embiid not on the floor, but he's going to be on the floor for this one, and that is why we're going to be on the Philadelphia 76ers at -5.5. I think it's very good value here. There's nobody on the Spurs that can even come close to guarding Embiid. It seems like when he's out here, especially now when he's going against bad teams, he's really trying to put up big numbers and make up for the fact that he's always gone, and maybe get the the media off his back a little bit. I don't think he deserves for that to happen, but he is going to be playing. I expect him to put up big numbers, and I think that's going to translate into a Philadelphia 76ers win by at least 6. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves going on the road to take on the Atlanta Hawks. The Timberwolves come into this game fresh off an embarrassing 113-103 loss against the Warriors, where, Anthony Edwards calling out his team. We've seen, 2 really bad games here for the Timberwolves in a row. Julius Randle getting a ton of hate for this team, and I think it's very, very well deserved, to be honest. In their game against the Warriors, guys, we saw Anthony Edwards. He went 6 of 20 from the field. He deserves more blame for this whole situation than, he is currently getting. Everybody who just wants to pile on against Julius Randle, which, don't get me wrong, he's been terrible. He's a huge part of the problem. Who really needs to be in trouble on this team is the GM and the ownership and whoever was involved in acquiring Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, or more importantly, who was involved in the idea of trading away Karl Anthony Towns, because that has clearly been a disaster. DiVincenzo was actually insane in that game against the Warriors. He was 7 of 12 in the field, 3 of 6 from 3, put up 19 points off the bench. As good as anybody else played out there. And, Anthony Edwards, 6 of 20, that can't be acceptable. That can't be something that happens. Rudy Gobert continued. He actually had a great day there offensively. One of the better games you're going to see from Gobert. 18 points and 12 rebounds. None of that ended up being enough, guys. They just couldn't figure out a way to slow down Curry. The Warriors shot only 38% from three-point range, so not some insane shooting night. They kept things even on the boards, something that should never happen there against the Timberwolves. So just a bad game there for the Timberwolves, which led to Anthony Edwards once again having to call out his team. They were also complaining about the refs, which, fair enough, the referee situation in the NBA is far from ideal, but you guys played terrible. Like, the shots did not go in the basket, and you need to hold yourselves a little bit accountable for that, because it was just not a very good game there from the Timberwolves. So they're squarely in a bounce back spot here. They are going to have everybody healthy and ready to go for this game, so they've got that going for them at least. Can they dig deep and find a good performance here, going on the road to take on the Atlanta Hawks, who have now lost 3 in a row, 2 in a row since that very tough loss there against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Cup. It's been a little bit of tough sledding. Losing in overtime to the Spurs, okay, that can happen. But then getting, kind of blown out by the Grizzlies, that wasn't a great look, guys. They did not have Ja Morant in that game, so you're probably not supposed to lose to the Grizzlies if you want to be taken seriously. And it seemed like for a minute that the Hawks did want to be taken seriously there. In the loss, guys, we saw Hunter play amazing off the bench, as he's continued to do all season long. 26 points, but he was a -22. Not the best day out there from guys like Clint Capella. Trae Young didn't play in this game, so that's obviously not ideal there for the Hawks. But yeah, Jalen Johnson, a rough day from him. He's supposed to be an all-star. That was not an all-star performance there, sir. So we'll see how things develop here, see if the Hawks can get healthy here for this game. Trae Young is still on the injury report. He's listed as tentatively as day-to-day. Seems like it's closer to questionable, dealing with that heel issue. So yeah, we see if he comes back. It sounds like it's a very real questionable, though a decent chance that he ends up not playing in this game. We also see Bogdan Bogdanovic. He is on the injury report as well, listed as day-to-day with that lower leg issue, questionable. We'll see if he plays or not. It seems like it is truly up in the air also. So we'll see what goes on here, guys. Looking at the numbers, the Hawks are getting 3.5 points at home, so that to me indicates that at least one of these guys isn't going to play. We've got a total here of 222.5. Minnesota 7-6 against the spread on the road. They are 15-12 to the under. Atlanta 4-10 against the spread at home. They are 19-10 to the over. So a big over number there, and you could talk me into over 222.5 in this game, maybe, but it's not my favorite spot here. My favorite spot on this game is definitely to take the Minnesota Timberwolves at -3.5. The last time Anthony Edwards had to call out his teammates, it went really, really well for a nice long stretch after that. So I think the Timberwolves are in a good bounce back spot. I think they do bounce back here against the Atlanta Hawks team that's kind of just spiraling right now and kind of banged up. So I think the Timberwolves go on the road and get a solid win and cover in this one. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Phoenix Suns going on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets. The Suns at 14-13 on the season come into this game fresh off a loss against the Pistons. Yeah, that's not what this team was built to do, guys. A pretty bleak situation here for the Suns. They're barely above 500. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They wasted a 43-point amazing performance there from Kevin Durant. 43 points, 14 of 26 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. 6 assists mixed in there, but 8 turnovers and a -9, and they end up taking the loss. Bradley Beal did play. Cool. He scored 26 points. Cool. They lost the game. Bradley Beal looking like one of the worst deals out there that's maybe existed in recent memory in the NBA, except for those like real albatrosses, like Ben Simmons or whatever. But it's gotten really, really rough there in Phoenix. Booker injured. He's been out. We'll be checking in on him in just a second. But yeah, a rough time out there. The addition of Tyus Jones was supposed to cure a lot of problems for this team, but it has not been able to cure the injury bug. And losing in blowouts, not a blowout, but losing against the Detroit Pistons, not something that was supposed to be happening for the Suns. They played very poor perimeter defense, allowing the Pistons to shoot nearly 50% from three-point range. So we'll see if they've got a bounce back in him here. Devin Booker is still on the injury report, guys. He's, dealing with that groin issue. He's going to be out for the next 2 games, be reevaluated early next week. So going to be a minute till he's back. He will not be back for this game. So plenty of reason for concern there for the Suns. Other than Booker, though, they're looking, a little bit kind of trending towards healthy. Grayson Allen, though, going to be out dealing with that concussion. So, yeah, not going to be at full strength there for their bench unit either. So, definitely problems here arising for the Suns as they go on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets, who come into this game fresh off of a 132-129 win last night, guys, over the Pelicans. Yeah, it took them overtime against the New Orleans Pelicans. Kind of embarrassing stuff. Shocker of the year, we see a big day there from Jokic, a triple-double, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Very, very good stuff there. Jamal Murray actually played okay, although he's only 2 of 9 from 3. He did score 27 points, had 8 boards, and put up a couple 4 assists himself. So some good things there, but yeah, just not looking like the deepest team. That continues to be a problem. Aaron Gordon, 17 points. Michael Porter Jr., 2 of 8 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. A big old 8 points out there. Ooh, yeah, that's not going to really work, especially when you got 4 turnovers mixed in. That's not great. Jamal Murray also had 6 turnovers of his own. This is just not a very good Nuggets team, and it's kind of terrible to watch a year of Jokic's career being wasted like this. Russell Westbrook looks like he's been a great addition to this team. He had 21 points coming off the bench, but none of that was enough for them to gain, a regulation win. They needed a massive comeback in the fourth quarter to even force overtime. Just crazy, crazy stuff there, guys. Not what we expected to see from the Denver Nuggets this season. They're, just having an even harder time than I would have thought. So they're going to be playing on back-to-back nights in this one. This isn't a fully updated injury report, but it appears that they should have basically everyone good to go with the time off looming. So yeah, 15-11, I think the Nuggets are going to be putting everybody out there they possibly can for this game. The Nuggets are 6.5-point favorites here playing at home. We've got a total here of 232. The Suns 5-7 against the spread on the road. They are 16-11 to the over. Denver 4-6-1 against the spread at home. They are 18-8 to the over this season. That's an NBA best to the over. Guys, first up, I think this is a great spot to take over 232 in this game. Both teams showing significant trends towards the over. Neither team plays any significant defense to speak of. Both teams have premier level scores. There's nobody on the Suns that can stop Jokic. There's nobody on the Nuggets that can stop KD. And I don't know if there's anybody on the Nuggets that can stop even Beal if he's going. So yeah, give me the over in this game. If you're begging me for a side, I'm leaning slightly here towards the Suns here, getting 6.5 points, especially since the Nuggets are definitely going to be tired playing on back-to-back nights coming off an overtime game. But I don't know if I have enough faith here in the Suns without Devin Booker to actually put that one in the pinned comment. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Indiana Pacers Pacers going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. The Pacers come into this game fresh off a 122-95 win there against the Kings. They've pretty quietly won their last 4 in a row to get to 14-15 on the year. Still not where this team was supposed to be at. They were supposed to take a big step forward last season, but that win last night against Sacramento Kings had to feel pretty good. A blowout win, not something that's happened very often for the Pacers this year. Siakam had a nice day, shot 50% from the field, scored 19 points. Halliburton, not anything to write home about, 14 points, 8 assists, like okay. But as a team, guys, the starters all put up very solid plus-minus numbers. So did the bench. McConnell was very good off the pine. Obi Toppin was good off the bench as well. This team just played really well. They shot 43.6% from 3. They didn't need any free throws. They did a good job there on the boards. And yeah, they just kind of shot Sacramento out of the gym there with a big third quarter and a big fourth quarter. So yeah, they'll definitely take it. They played relatively good defense against the Sacramento team that, continues to kind of struggle. So we'll see what the Pacers can do here. See if this is something real that they're building on. They do come into this game fully healthy, not something that's been the case for them this season, but going from Sacramento there to Golden State to play the Warriors, not too tough of a trip. So not going to be a huge travel spot here for the Pacers as they go to take on the Warriors, who are 15-12 on the season. They're coming off of a nice win there against the Timberwolves. A little bit of drama swirling. We've got Kuminga posting weird stuff on his Instagram, and yeah, there's definitely a reason to think the Warriors are going to be involved here in some more trades, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, Steph coming off a big night, guys, scored 11 straight points there in the fourth quarter, 31 on the night overall, and that nice 10-point win there over the Timberwolves had to feel pretty good for a Warriors team that has really had its ups and downs this season. There's no doubt about that. Curry obviously leading the way there with his 31. We saw Schroeder inserted into the starting lineup. He played 28 minutes. He looked okay out there, still very clearly trying to find his way. He was 0-4 from 3, only 3 of 8 from the field, and 9 points isn't what the Warriors got him for, but we'll see what goes on. I don't know if Kuminga was maybe just being upset that he was bumped out of the starting lineup, but I don't know, guys. Definitely weird times there for the Warriors. Kuminga played okay off the bench, 11 points, 3 of 11 from the field is not ideal. Buddy Hield kind of shot the ball okay. The Warriors as a team shot the ball all right, and they did a good job holding things even on the boards against a much bigger, much more physical team. So the Warriors will have to take what they can get. Looking at their injury report here, we do see Draymond still on there. He missed that game, and yeah, I don't know what to think of Draymond and his whole situation right now. He's questionable for this one with an ankle injury. The last time he played was that absolutely embarrassing demolition there against the Memphis Grizzlies. So we'll see what happens in this one, guys. The Warriors are 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 231.5. The Pacers 7-10 against the spread on the road, 16-12-1 to the over. Golden State 7-5 against the spread at home. They're 15-12 to the under. Guys, this is a spot that I'm definitely looking at taking the Pacers and the points. Too much weirdness going on here for the Warriors. I know Indiana's playing on back-to-back nights, but they're a young team and it's not a big travel spot at all. So I think that could be okay. Golden State with just too much drama swirling right now, and they're in a letdown spot coming off of a big win. I think we could see a close game, probably a high-scoring game in this one. So if you wanted to take over 231.5, you could definitely talk me into that. But overall, this might end up being a game that I'm more interested in just watching than having a lot riding on. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.